So today we're going to take a look at SR versus G2 in the grand finals of the Game Changers Championship. A very back and forth series. I don't think we've seen a best of 5 like this where, one team wins the first 2 maps. Normally that's a death sentence in most Valorant's best of 5s that we've seen so far. But G2 were able to pull off the reverse sweep and do it in a pretty dominant fashion. As I said, I don't think we've seen a team, do a reverse sweep and look convincing whilst doing it. But that's what happened yesterday. And, normally I would take a look at map 5, right, of a best of 5 that goes all the way, but I'm not going to do a review of 2 Reynas on Breeze. No one wants to see that. So instead, I think we'd start where the comeback began, on Ascent here, which was a very dominant map for G2, and I think they played very, very well on this map. It had some crazy moments that we'll get to as well. But let's start here with round number 3, which is where it all kind of started off, right? The bonus round for G2, where, they have one rifle here, they have a bulldog here as well, but other than that, it's not too impressive overall, but they are going to win this round. And they're going to win this round, I think, in a large part due to the map control they're able to take here, right? So we've got a normal 1-3-1 default here for G2 to start. The chamber's going to go towards B main. You've got, obviously, these 3 here towards mid, and you've got a raise here coming towards A main as well. So pretty standard stuff for Ascent in particular. And you see that they're just going to explore their options. Eventually, this one-way comes down. And Juliana, with a rifle in this bonus round, you're more likely to take a risk, as Mary is here as well. Actually goes down to 2 HP, but pushes Flowerful, off this angle in B main. They both just kind of, trade that info, and obviously Mary loses some HP there as well. But now you start to look at the control that they've gained, right? There's a lot of pretty deep mid control here for G2 as well. Giuliano's been able to walk into A main, so they've already got this A main control. They're going to destroy this chamber trap here and get some pretty deep mid control as well, and that's just going to continue as we play this round further forward as well. Smoke comes in here in A main. They do destroy the trip, and you see the SR get a bit concerned about what's going on, and so because that trip gets destroyed, the chamber actually backs off, and so now you look at it, and now they have control, all of this into A main. You see where Giuliano is there. They've got all this deep, nice mid control as well. They now, it's a question mark for SR in terms of what's going on in B as well. They've got a lot of control here, G2, and, the kind of one area where you still got someone, kind of watching the choke point here in the KO, that's also going to get pushed off with this Omen flash and then the smoke in here as well. So now, take a look at where SR are, in this round. They've lost pretty much everything at this point other than the sites themselves, right? So they're very, very deep, and G2 are going to use that to their advantage, all of this control. They're going to send in a raise nade here with Giuliano and kind of threaten that, this might be an A hit. But then they're going to actually come back towards B, and Petra gets tucked up in this very aggressive angle just here. Flowerful has actually gone back and retaken B, as they think maybe it's going to be an A hit, and actually gets the kill on Mary there, but Petra's able to catch out Benita and trade it back. And then this is kind of the fight that wins the round. Or at least gives, I think, G2 a pretty good chance to win the round, because obviously Flowerful can kind of get this kill here, maybe retreat, hold it down for just, and give time for these other players to rotate. Probably SR with the gun advantage would still be feeling pretty good about where they are in the round, but unfortunately for SR, G2 and Glance are going to win that fight, and that obviously opens up this B site. They now can plant the spike pretty safely, and we end up in this, 4v3 for a very brief second, now a 3v3, and at this point, again, you're probably thinking 3v3, they have the weapon advantage. There's still a pretty decent chance here for SR to win this round, but you'll see what goes on here as Glance TPs, takes this aggressive angle. She's very low as well, and then what's going to happen is we're going to get a bit of a timing here with KP and Mimi, where KP's just going to come around this angle and, sees Mimi. I'm not sure quite can get the shot on Mimi, but you see the ping on the map shows that, KP saw where Mimi is. Flash comes in. Sunder then tries to go and deal with Mimi first, maybe not expecting that they would be playing so aggressive on this angle here, G2, but Giuliano actually is playing aggressive. She does get the kill on Mimi there, Sunder, but now we're in a 2v2. Giuliano chases that kill again, taking perhaps a risk, feeling like they're still not really the favorites in this round, with Glance on such low HP and whatnot. KP is going to, try and make a play here, but obviously 2v1, very, very difficult. Glance manages to win this round for G2, and then they would take this stepping stone and just go crazy with it. But now let's come to the very next round. And so now SR are on a save. They have a judge, they have a marshal, some sheriffs, but not really much to work with just here. And so you think, oh, this is going to be an easy round for G2. And G2, after, showing some early KO knife in here towards A, they're actually just going to group up, come back towards B. They actually managed to get the first kill with Giuliano as well. And so you're thinking, okay, 5v4, you've got the guns, they don't. You know, this should be pretty simple, and so they're just basically going to group up, come towards B main. They send this Prowler in just across B, as you can see just there. But they are going to get delayed here. Obviously, SR feeling like they have nothing to lose at this point, right? Just come and kind of stack up towards B and mid, and just leave the A site completely, because, you know, they need to take a risk to try and, you know, get anything out of this round. And so there goes in the Fade Prowler, but everything's just going to get a bit chaotic from this point on, right? As G2 are trying to scale in onto the site, you know, different people get stuck in different locations, and we got utility out, and people just keep dying, and, you know, kills go back and forth, but SR actually end up in a 3v2. Petra is down on the site with the spike, but I like the way SR played this, where they just, you know, they know that Mary is in here clearly, and you see them just, you know, kind of all three of them just take that fight and make this a 3v1. And I mentioned yesterday, actually, in the video about SR, that, you know, despite them playing very, very well in a lot of these games, I did still feel like, you know, they struggled. Sometimes they're a bit eager to close rounds, is what I said, right? Where they'll take, you know, instead of doing what they just did there, where all three of them are together, you know, taking that fight, sometimes they can, you know, want to be the one to get that last kill and finish the round, and it can, you know, end up with some situations that might cost them. And you're going to see another example of that here, because we are in a 3v1, and you're thinking, you know, again, if they all do just swing this angle together, they probably will win the round. But instead, you see Laurie goes for this fight on her own. Petra, you know, punishes her for that. Now we're in a 1v2, right? Now you're in a 1v2, and these two are on low health, and now in comes a Fatal as well, so now you can't hear what's going on. And again, you end up in a position where Sondig gets that kill, and now KP is down to 1 HP with just a judge, right? So it's gone from, like, you know, super should be an easy win, right, to all of a sudden you've lost the round. And, you know, this, I think, was really the start of, you know, this big comeback from G2 was, you know, now we're 4-0 up. We just won a 1v3 as well. You know, SR at this point, I feel like we're probably, you know, maybe getting into their head a bit of like, oh no, what if, you know, it does happen. And now let's come to the very next round again, because round 5, a very, very interesting round. What's going to happen here early on is we'll see that actually SR are able to get the first kill in this round and make this a 4v5 on Mary here, as Flowerful wins that fight just there. And so you think, you know, that's pretty good. And I think, you know, maybe SR get a bit, you know, eager here. They're clearly, you know, focusing on this B site, and you know, the rotates start to come over, and so now, you know, KP is kind of in a very, you know, isolated position, so has to kind of retreat, because, you know, there could be 4 people running down here. And so actually G2 do decide to go pretty fast back towards this A site, and they will actually manage, as you can see, to get onto the A site. They use a lot of their utility just here, and they will manage to get onto this A site. But, you know, 5v4 retake again for SR. This is a, you know, perfectly reasonable situation, and one that they could definitely win. But I absolutely love what G2 are about to do here, because it's very, very clever, and it's very, like, unexpected, but it's going to win them the round. Because what's going to happen is Glance just TP'd onto site with the spike. She's going to just tap the spike, okay? She's going to tap the spike, and then 3 players here, all these 3 players are going to come back towards Garden. You'll see it just here. They're going to come back towards Garden and just try and fight, right? So they've tapped the spike. They've got the site, right? SR are kind of gearing up for their retake. You know, they've sent in a KO knife here. We just sent in a flash from Sunder. And you're expecting maybe 1 person is going to be in here, right? But it's actually 3. And they managed to get the next 3 kills in this round. And it's gone all of a sudden from a 5v4 to a 4v2. And then they hit that shot as well. But I just thought that was a really, really clever idea, right? Like, we're in a 4v5. We don't feel great about playing this 4v5 retake, right? With all this utility coming from our opponents, because we've used a lot of our utility to get in onto the site. So let's do something a bit crazy, bit weird. We're going to tap the spike, and then we're going to go and fight, right? And I thought that was a really, really clever idea by G2. Great call, and it clearly paid off as they win the round. And now let's come to round 10, which is a truly absurd round, and I'm sure some of you will have seen the clip of this already. But SR, they're back down on a kind of a half by here, an eco, and so they're going to decide to get pretty aggressive, as you will see, and they're gonna be rewarded actually for that aggression. So Prowler comes out, early Omen flash there as well. The knife goes off, that suppresses 2. Omen flash in response. Sover ult comes out as well, manages to get a kill there from Benita. Nice aggression, and gets another tag as well. And now KP actually goes walking up mid as well, and you're going to see KP gets rewarded for this as 2 kills come in there for SR. And at this point, again, 5v2, you're thinking, you know, round over pretty much. Mimi is just surrounded here by opponents, manages to get 1. It goes down to 34 HP. And then somehow this happens. She gets 2 kills from that, and then Benita kills her from the grave, and now it's a 1v2, and, it's winnable for Mary. KP does, I think, the correct thing and just kind of backs off, and, plays with the team there, gets back towards Flowerful so they can play together. We're in a 1v2. It's currently 9-0 to G2, and, I mean, how Mimi got those kills, I'll never know. Another smoke comes in there. Mary just decides to, go and take the spike towards the A site here. And, well, you're going to see the way that Mary plays this as well. And kind of the isolating of angles is just really, really good in the way she's able to really win this round for G2. She's going to obviously slowly clear in towards this A site. Obviously doesn't know exactly where these players are at this point. Shuts the door. Is going to... well, actually tap the spike first, but then is going to plant. And now you're going to see, SR start to come back in here, and they're going to destroy the door. And honestly, the way that they play this here, SR, I don't really mind. They smoke off main here, right? And then actually, I really like this idea from KP. So KP has actually just teleported into the smoke on the Omen as well. Really, really nice idea, I think, to give you these two kind of different angles of attack. But Mary somehow seemingly knows this, right? Even though, 2 people were destroying the door, seemingly knows this, does manage to find the first kill on Flowerful, and then you see that KP is coming out of the smoke on this side, so by just tucking in, to this box, it kind of just stopped this angle from being able to properly punish Marion, so it gives her the time to actually, isolate basically 2 1v1s, rather than a 2v1, and it was just really, really well played, I thought, by Mary at this point, and she manages to get the final kill, lives on 9 HP, and wins the round for G2. They go up 10-0. And then finally, let's come to the final round, round number 16, where G2 would close this map out. SR are now on the attacking side. Obviously, they kind of need to force as much as they can, so they don't have great weapons in this round. Either they destroy that little chamber trap on short there, but Glance is in this position. She's going to flash. We're going to get a Prowler in. We're going to actually get a flash back from SR as well. That's why Mimi is blind here. But as that flash subsides, Mimi's going around that corner and managed to get 2 kills. Glance then gets 1. Mimi then gets a 3rd. We end up in this situation where it's a 4v1, only a classic for Flowerful while she's suppressed, and so, this is obviously going to be a G2 round to close it out, and I think, G2, big comeback, showed a lot of resilience to come back from 2 maps down, because it's not easy to do that. We haven't seen it happen too often in Valorant's history, and I think overall, they would come back, and I think this whole tournament, I was very impressed with it. I think the level of the competition was very good, and, there was a tense, close, interesting, maps and games. Some of the games were incredible. This best of 5 series goes all the way. We get a reverse sweep. That's pretty hype. And so, yeah, just a truly great opening LAN tournament for the Game Changers scene. I think, I've seen people say, there probably should be more Game Changers LANs. I'll be interested to see what, next year holds. Will there be more teams? I kind of hope there is, bigger venue, all that kind of stuff. This was I think, a good first step. But I really do think there is something here, for Valorant to have, right? Hosting this kind of big tournament, during the off season of, the other VCT schedule. We were all clamoring for some Valorant and some good Valorant to watch, and we absolutely got it. So I think this tournament as a whole was a big dub. And I'm excited to see, what happens in the future with the Game Changer scene, because I think this was a really good first attempt by Riot, and hopefully they can build and expand on it.